Hey, Russell.
Hey, Tony.
Have you heard where Tesla stock is heading?
No.
About the same direction as a Tesla driver, right down the steps.
Sorry, that's funny. Hey, everybody. Welcome to What Drives Us, episode 270 for March 28th, 2018. My name is Russell Frost, and I am very proud, very happy, privileged, lucky, I don't know, whatever, one of those words, to be here, to be your host this evening. And along with me, my wingman on this show, the man with the funny, well, it's not really a one-liner, but with the funny jokes, Mr. Tony Schaefer.
Yeah, I realized I botched it. I said Tesla driver. I'm an Uber driver. See, I have Tesla on the brain. Yeah, I was because it's Tesla stock, but the Uber driver.
That's what happens when we don't script these things.
Right. That's what happens when you go off script.
We would pay for here.
Yeah, exactly. We would never make it on Whose Line Is It Anyway? We would be thrown off instantly. Like we do something naughty with the hat, or it wouldn't work.
They would take all our points. Also, Russell, do you know what time it is?
What time is it, Tony?
Well, let me pull this up. It turns out that it is actually 1 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Or as you called it, 2500?
2500, yeah.
2500 o'clock, everyone. Y'all.
So we
the British have their own time schedule.
That's how you get it to tomorrow.
Right. So we did get a comment about our show, and because this was not a cease and desist order, we decided to actually read this one. And the comment was, we've been saying that the show starts at 8 o'clock Central, 6 o'clock Pacific, but we do have some international listeners. And so the suggestion was, why don't we give our starting time Greenwich Mean Time? So we record the show Thursday morning, 1 o'clock a.m. Greenwich Mean Time.
So is that 100? Can we say 100 hours?
We can say 100 hours. Yes.
Okay.
Thursday, 100 hours.
That is the way the BBC would do it.
Okay.
100 hours.
Oh, I like your BBC voice.
I don't have a BBC. I wish I could.
Yeah, we'll have to find something.
But I used to listen to the BBC all night. So it would be like, I would hear that everyone like 300 hours on the BBC. It's like, it warms my heart. Speaking of warming my heart, we have two amazing panelists with us. One broadcasting from his iPhone in a hotel room. Who knows where? I don't know where he could be. Who knows what continent he's on, what language he's speaking. Apparently, he doesn't have his Diet Pepsi. He's been forced to drink something called Diet Pepsi. Yuck. So he must be in America. Of all the places
Where's the French on this thing?
The monolinguistic.
Exactly. Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. I am somewhere in EV land, California. I cannot believe the number of EVs that are on the road in this state or this area. I am in the greater Bay Area in a little place called Hayward, California, across the bay just south of Oakland.
Yeah.
So I was here on business. Didn't get to participate in the last show, but had some time and thought I'd join the group tonight.
You're like 3 exits south of Fremont.
I was in Fremont yesterday.
I bet you were.
So we know.
I bet you were.
You got to try to get a tour of the factory while you're there. Only owners can schedule it, but just hang out and try to make a friend.
Yeah, try to make friends in a parking lot. That works out really well.
Hey, man, can you get me in? Come on, man.
Yeah, you work for me.
Instagram account for that parking lot. It's pretty easy to make friends there. Just bring some tequila. You're golden.
Yeah.
See?
Stand outside with a $20 bill at a liquor store. You make a lot of friends.
So the man with the tequila tip is our man in Portland, Oregon. He is a Tesla owner, Mr. Patrick Connor.
That's right. I've got the aluminum Falcon here. And
awesome. The aluminum Falcon.
Yes. Some of everybody's brewing. Uncle Stepdad's bourbon barrel aged imperial stout.
Oh,
Yeah, so I haven't tried this one yet, so hopefully it's pretty good because they still have it in stock and I can get some more. I like the little logo on the side there. It says, "Drink everybody's beer."
Hey, where I'm from,
advice.
where I'm from, Uncle Stepdad is a recognized relation.
And there goes all of our Indiana viewers. But nice. Thanks very much. We love you.
That's good stuff.
Speaking of love, let's kick this bad boy off with the big news this week. I don't know how you would have missed it. Maybe you don't have access to the intertubes. Maybe you just don't care. But everyone's favorite electric car company, Tesla Inc., stock has tumbled, is the nice way to put it. And we're going to talk about the reasons for that, of course. But let's just show you exactly what's going on here. This is today, of course. And if you look at the 5-day, we're at what? Let's see, 257 at close. The 5-day, not so good. A high of 316 down to 257 today. And you look at the month, and yeah.
It's about $100.
Now let's put this in context because I'm not here to spin this in a negative way. You look at the 5-year, and wow, there's a lot of up there. There's some downs, but Tesla's still doing very well. I guess by this chart, right? I mean, it's not like they're down where they started at the beginning. So I'm going to open this up right away because there are smarter people on this panel than I and people with opinions.
Well, we have to open it with the disclaimer. Don't take stock advice from a YouTube channel. We're just a bunch of guys drinking Diet Pepsi and beer and talking out of our ass. So just full disclaimer.
Full disclaimer right there. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
The microphone's not down here, dude. Okay. I mean, it may seem like I'm talking out of my ass, but
it's so easy to get those confused with you, my friend.
I know. I'm ugly as hell. I get that. Okay.
But just to make sure that that's out there on the record. So if anybody ever if this comes up in litigation, they're like, after they said that, you took their advice and now you want to sue them.
Yes.
Okay, it's clear. Yeah. So there. So I've talked about Tesla stock on here a few times, and I bragged about buying it when it was $17 a share, and then I sold it 120, and I bought it back at 80, and I sold it at 260, and I bought it back at 220, and before this drop, I sold some at 380, and now it's below 300, and I'm buying again. So I've been pretty lucky. I've been right in the past. Does that mean I'll be right this time? I hope so. That's why I'm buying. But there's no guarantees.
Yeah, it's volatile by nature, and we know it is.
Yeah, exactly.
And it, is 250 as low as it's going to go? I don't know, but you buy it. Maybe there's a short-term drop, and then it goes up even higher. Okay, if you're a day trader, this is probably not the stock for you.
Actually, if you are a day trader, it's a high volatile stock.
Well,
yeah,
I guess, but I don't know. I just think as volatile as it is, it's one tweet, one call, one shipment missed, and it goes berserk. I couldn't possibly live that life.
So, Tony, what you're saying is if you have a weak stomach, this is not the stock for you.
Right.
If you don't have money to lose, this is not the stock for you.
That's a very important point. With anytime you buy an individual stock, you should never spend more than you could afford to lose.
Yeah.
If you want safe money, an individual stock is not the place.
Right.
Absolutely.
So let's talk about. Do you want to talk about what's causing this?
Well, I was just going to say I'd love to hear theories on what you think is driving this, and let me state my own for the record. Who knows? I've repeatedly said on this show that, in my opinion, most investors are worse than like Antelope on meth. Because anything can scare them. The grass moves, the whole herd jumps up and runs. And oftentimes it's an overreaction to something that may or may not have a material impact on the company.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I've never heard that analogy ever before.
Really?
On meth. That is
I think maybe it was Antelopes on Coke. I forget.
I don't know. I think we got a show title right there.
I'll write that down.
Antelopes on Meth.
Antelopes on Meth. Yeah.
Well,
I like that. Thank you, Tony.
Let me throw in an obvious thing that that has, I believe, started to spook the market a little bit in against Tesla is because we're getting close to the quarter end. And there has been several different groups that are reporting or speculating that that the Model 3 numbers are not going to be where they want them to be. And there's other groups that are saying they will be. So as with anything with Tesla, there seems to be two different minds of what's going on. And I don't know if any of them really know what is going on. But some of them are claiming that the 2,500 weekly production of the Model 3 is not going to make it. They're not going to get there in this quarter. Which they promised, and which, of course, has been delayed from the previous quarter. So that is one of the driving factors, I believe, is the uncertainty as to where the numbers are going to fall in the next few days when the quarter ends.
But the thing is that what gets me is, okay, so they miss a target. Does that mean they're going to fold up shop? You know, I mean, they said they were going to ship this many cars. They don't ship this many cars. Okay.
Yeah, so let's do the analysis. There is that as they increase their volume, then they increase their revenue and they increase their margin because now all the capital expenditure can be spread out over a larger number of cars. So by missing those, they're hurting their profitability on multiple levels. And the more important part of that is that means that they're likely going to have another capital raise because they're hemorrhaging cash. And they have been for most of their existence, so that's not a big change. But there were market expectations that was going to change when they start getting to 2,500 a week, especially when they get to 5,000 a week. And that now the market's realizing that's going to be later than they expected. So Tesla's going to have to either borrow more money, issue more bonds, or issue more stock. And then the biggest reason I think that their stock moved down, they had support at about 300 and they broke through that and now are falling, is that their credit rating was downgraded. And that means it's more expensive for them to borrow money. So that's one avenue that's off the table for them. And that is where the shorts are like, oh, it's going to, so that's got some people nervous. Like, what'd you say? Who on crack? What?
Antelopes on Meth.
There you go. Yeah.
Antelopes on Meth. But this is sort of I don't want to say like there's a ripple effect. It's sort of circular. If they issue more stock, they dilute the value potentially, but they need the revenue. Their debt out there is decreasing in value. Is that, as I understand it, like the payoff is increasing because the risk involved in the bonds that they've issued?
Oh, I don't know that any of these actions would change what's already issued. Those tend to have a fixed rate.
Does it? Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not a bond expert, so.
I'm not either.
It would be on new issues. They would have to pay more to attract the buyers.
Okay. I did a little bit of reading, and the only bond I'm familiar with is 007. So.
Yeah, I watched the Bond movie once, and he made his money playing roulette.
Yeah, I'm not so good with that. I was an art major, kids. Big surprise.
Yeah. Now there is also the thought that Tesla, like you had said, Patrick, is burning cash, and if it's harder for them to borrow and they're burning through cash, at what point do they run out? And I think that's one thing that investors are looking at as well.
Right. And you certainly see people claiming that they're going to run out and fold up shop in a week, and they're wrong. Musk's one of his biggest strengths is his ability to raise cash. He's got an awesome track record. The potential for this company is incredible. They've got the partnership with Panasonic. Panasonic has a large vested interest in the company doing well. They've already committed to, I don't remember what the number was now, $1.6 billion toward the Gigafactory development. So they've got a lot of friends with deep pockets, and I'm not worried about them going out of business in a year. Again, could be wrong, but I'm not worried at all. So, which is why I see this as a buying opportunity. The only thing I'm thinking about now is one of my philosophies on a stock that's dropping is you never try to catch a falling knife. You wait until you see that it's leveled off and started going back up, which means you don't get it at the exact bottom. You get, you miss a little bit of that, but it's better than buying it too soon before it, like right now it's what, 257. So tomorrow, is it going to go up or down? If it goes up, then that might be the time that I would actually put some more money in. I bought some at 270, and I'm waiting to buy some more when I see it starting to turn around, when I know it's made a bottom and starting to go back up.
Yeah.
But we know that the quarter is ending in 3 days, and there's going to be a call, right? Month-end, quarter-end call. The numbers are going to come in.
It'll be a couple weeks after, though. They don't do the call right away because they have to figure out what they actually finished and do all the math and stuff. Yeah.
But the results will be released. So you're right. There will be some effect on the stock in the next, once it's been released.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So again, we have no idea what we're talking about, but our official stance is
enjoy your meth, Antelopes. Yeah. That's what our stance is. Enjoy your meth.
So I mean, I think that was it. That was the elephant in the room. That we kind of had to address this, and we're not coming down on Tesla by any means. Like Russell has said, we always want every EV company to succeed, and Tesla has already carved out a global niche. Their name is already a household name. People who don't give two shouts about EVs, ask me about Tesla, and that's the type of EV penetration that we would be drooling over 5 years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. They've got so many, as Warren Buffett calls them, moats, things that other companies don't have. They've got this Apple devotee type fandom. They've got a well-known rock star CEO in Elon Musk. In fact, Russell, you and Ed Niedermeyer talked about how SpaceX is a moat that other car companies don't have. Who else could do a marketing campaign and launch one of their cars into space?
Exactly.
That's huge for corporate PR. And their charging network is another one that nobody else has anything like that. They don't have this legacy of 100 years of burning gas that all the other car companies have. They sell solar panels. They have this fast charging network. They sell batteries for your house. They've got some really cool cachet. In fact, okay, for next week's show, I'm going to write a story of all of Tesla's moats, whether it's AI attracting talent in Silicon Valley. There's a huge list of reasons why I think they're going to be the biggest car company in a decade.
Yeah, OTA updates. That's got to jump out right there.
Absolutely.
No one else is doing that.
Yep. In fact, so I have a 2016 Model X, and the new Model 3s have a faster touchscreen. And so, of course, I'm envious. And now they've announced that they have this new MCU for the S and X. And I'm like, cool, I'm going to get one. And someone tweeted Elon and said, hey, are there going to be retrofits? And he said, yes, but we have a software update coming that's going to greatly speed up the touchscreen, even on the older CPUs. You might want to wait and see if that's fast enough for you. And if it is, then you don't have to spend however much it's going to be to buy a new MCU. So yeah, who else updates their car and to make the touchscreen faster after you've had it for a year and a half or 2 years or whatever? Right, nobody. Right. No, yeah, exactly. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And shame on all those other car companies for not doing that.
Well, yeah, and the other car companies, they contract out most of their software development, and it's a different company that does the nav than does the infotainment system.
And you can tell too.
Exactly, they have different look and feels, and they cobble them together. The interfaces are horrible. So the fact that Tesla does a vertical integration, there's another moat. They design more of their parts than any other car company. Yeah, they still have suppliers, but they do a lot more of it in-house than anybody else.
Yep.
Nice. Well, it'll be, we'll see. Again, as we've often said on the show for many, many years, time will tell. And nobody knows where the market's going to go, except maybe Warren Buffett. And I think he's just making that shit up anyway. Right. But, we'll have to, I don't know. We'll follow it, believe me, and you will get reports right here on What Drives Us. One final note, and I don't want to beat this thing, but the Model X crash, and I'm kind of dubious of this. We talked a little bit about it on the Tesla Life. I mean, do you guys feel like that has a big impact on this, or is that just sort of adding a little bit of grease to something that was already sliding down?
I don't think that that's reflected in the stock price at all.
Okay.
But that's just my opinion.
Mark?
I think that maybe with the story of what happened with Uber recently, that it might have weighed on this, and of course there was a death in this situation as well. There might be a little bit of it, but I don't think it's much. Not yet. Like it's too far between instances that there's been bad news on the Tesla Autopilot front. So I don't think that this had too much to do with it.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything that said this happened because of some fatal flaw in Tesla's design or vehicles or manufacturing or anything like that. So that's why I don't think it had any impact to the stock price.
Yeah, I agree. I think that people, of course they're aware of it. They're aware that someone died. But like Mark said, the investigation is still ongoing. And every article I've read says that no one knows whether the car was in autonomous mode or under manual control at the time. It could have just been someone reaching for a cell phone for as far as we know.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and it likely wouldn't have been fatal if something Tony noticed on the Tesla Life show is that normally, the impact protectors, the big black and yellow tubs full of water or sand, were missing from this particular place where this Model X impacted. And that is it's without question, that is the reason why this accident was as severe as it was.
Absolutely.
If those had been in place, chances are these people would have survived.
Yeah, I wish I could find that now.
That driver, excuse me.
Yeah, at least the driver. I did find someone had side-by-side pictures, Google Map 2017 versus just recently, and it showed.
Yeah, because of a recent accident, they were removed because they were mangled already, and they didn't replace them.
Yeah, that's
tragic beyond words.
It is something that we don't know the amount of time. Obviously, maybe the turnaround time was really short. We don't know, but certainly it's something that those highway crews are out there to replace those things. I don't know what the timetables are like.
Right.
Okay, I got it here. Let me share this here. So the first shot you see here, Google Street View. And I don't have, but in another one I saw, this was like 2017. And so you can see it's just crumple metal, right? But at least it keeps you from hitting that concrete.
Oh, I see. That
it had the metal crush zone.
You get the crush zone. Yeah. And you get and you can see that the Prius under manual control is able to avoid it.
Had to go there.
Well, it's in the way.
Well, speaking of accidents.
And then this is March 22nd, 2018.
Oh, wow.
The day prior to the accident. I don't know why they have a picture of it the day prior to the accident, but apparently it doesn't even look crumpled.
It's been removed.
It's removed.
Removed and shortened or something.
75% of it is gone.
Right. Yeah. So somebody hit it, and then they had to get rid of all that scrap metal that was there, and this is all that was left. And I'm sure it was on their schedule to get fixed, and it just was horrible timing.
Yeah. You hit that at interstate speed, and boom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So, speaking of accidents, can I talk about one that might be a little more fun than the one we talked about last week or this one? Am I allowed?
Yes,
okay.
Please
do. And our favorite new age car company, Uber, had a little incident this week. Not quite as serious as the last one. In fact, dare I suggest, it's kind of funny. This was an Uber driver. And because I lived here, I'm super familiar with this area. I used to shop at that Safeway, who took a wrong turn picking somebody up and got their Toyota stuck on the stairway outside of the Safeway on Market Street. There's another shot of the Uber car. And just because I love it, there's the Uber driver. And I'm thinking, sir, maybe you shouldn't be driving an Uber car.
Does Uber issue the sweater vest or the
cap? The cap.
Yeah.
Come on, the whole ensemble. I mean, am I being ageist and saying, you know what? Dude, you drove down a stairway. And as I told Tony on the Tesla Live, like I could see this at night because it's a little weird. Like maybe you do this at night, but if you do this during the day, just take that license away, tear it up. Okay. It's time for you to take advantage of San Francisco's wonderful public transit options.
Oh, man.
I wish I could say this is the first time I've seen something like this. I have seen things like this in real life around malls. I've seen people drive over the curb and their cars parked like this, except on a greenery embankment. I just, honestly, if this wasn't an Uber driver, this would have absolutely no coverage whatsoever.
Isn't it usually lakes these people drive into?
Well, so allegedly the driver says that the Uber app directed him down the stairway.
Yes. Yeah. Take a right and go down 3 flights of steps.
Right.
That's probably right in the software.
Uber, of course, claims that it wasn't. Now, I have a little inside knowledge here that the Uber the Uber driving software, not so good. Not so good. So it'll be interesting to see if this is the driver's fault or if this is Uber's fault.
I think fundamentally it's always the driver's fault, even if the software says turn here.
Right.
You always need to look. I got a moving violation because I turned against a posted sign, and the sign said that you can't turn here between 6 and 9 a.m. Navigation said you should turn here. And I turned because I was supposed to turn. And the police, the very friendly police person said, yeah, there's a sign back there. And I couldn't argue with that. I could have tried to say, yeah, but the GPS told me to turn here. And he would have laughed and,
right.
He would have been laughing when he handed me my ticket. So fundamentally, I ate it because I was driving. It was my fault.
Right. Well, it happens, but yeah. Well, our next story actually goes to Mr. Connor, who reappears now.
Perfect timing. So is this the electric cars are greener?
Yes, sir.
Enough with the lies?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so this is a Clean Technica story by Nicholas Zart. And we've covered this time and time again, that you're going to run into people that say it's the long tailpipe. You're just moving the emissions from the tailpipe out to the smokestack. And yet another study has come out to say that these cars are greener, and that especially as the grid gets greener, the electric cars get greener. And if you do a full well-to-wheel analysis, looking at
I hate those.
Everything from and if you're going to consume something, it's not just the what happened while you have it that matters. It's everything from its production to how it's disposed of that matters. And oil has to be pumped out of the ground. There's spills and leaks and pipelines, and then it has to be refined, and that uses electricity. In fact, the largest consumer of electricity in the state of California are oil refineries. So there's already embedded electricity in that gasoline once it gets into a tank that's equivalent to about what an electric car would use. And then in a gas car, you have the emissions that come out of the car. So they were already on equal footing. And this study that they're quoting in this article here is from the Union of Concerned Scientists. I think they first did this study in 2012, and then they updated it in 2015, and they updated it again in 2017, and now again in 2018. And every time they do, it's getting better. There's a quote in here that I want to read to you where it talks about the how efficient these are.
Oh.
And let me see if I can find it. I'm not finding it. Here it is. Yeah, the climate change emissions created by driving on electricity depend on where you live, but on average, EV driving on electricity in the U.S. today is equivalent to a conventional gas car that gets 80 miles per gallon, up from 73 miles per gallon in the 2017 update. So just in the last year, it's gotten 7 mpg better. And how many gas cars out there get 80 mpg? I can't think of any that don't plug in.
Yeah.
As we've mentioned on the show, and I think, Patrick, you're probably the one who mentions the most, electric cars are the only ones that get greener over time.
Yes. Yep.
Your gas car's not going to get greener over time. It may be green to start with ish, but it's not going to get better. Electric cars,
it gets worse.
Right.
Yeah. More times than not.
Age and become less efficient, and you don't want to spend another $2,000 on a catalytic converter or something.
Well, yeah, and the fuel that's going into it gets worse over time because all the light sweet crude is gone, and so now we're going out to deeper, more tar sands, heavier bitumen, and it's so that side of it's getting worse as well.
Right.
So we're behind EVs for a lot of good reasons, but that's the big one, I think.
Yes.
The cool thing about the grid greening is that, means everything in your house, your air conditioner, refrigerator, your lights, your computer, they're all getting greener. And that's a great thing.
Which means your refrigerator gets the equivalent of 80 miles per gallon.
Is your refrigerator running?
It's not even going anywhere. It's just idling. I mean, that's horrible.
Not running, it's idling. Yes.
Yeah. You got Prince Albert in the can. Yeah. Oh, we heard that before. Well, speaking of other things, Tony, maybe you have a story next about something similar.
Yeah, this would be a good time to head across the pond to The Guardian.
Oh, bloody hell.
Oh, I wonder what time it is in...
No. We've already humiliated ourselves enough.
I think it's about 2,600 now.
Yeah. It's at least
2,600.
11 billion. So I'm putting up here a picture of the wind and solar because what The Guardian they did an article here where they we're again looking at a study that was done, and it was the Journal of Energy and Environmental Science, and yes, yeah, it's the Journal of Energy and Environmental Science.ru, I think was the website.
Oh
no. Just kidding. Great. We just lost our Russian listeners.
All 70 million of them.
69.999 were bots.
Yeah, exactly.
So they analyzed 36 years of hourly weather data from 1980 to 2015. I'm glad I was not on that project.
That's 11 billion hours.
At least a Brazilian. And
did you say a Brazilian? I think that's something else, Tony. I mean, we can go in that direction if you want. But...
You can wax about it.
Wow.
Oh man. This show is officially off the rails.
I have so many show titles now, I don't even know what to say.
Oh shit. Okay. Anyway, what they found was they set us in different scenarios. One was if you have just enough wind and solar to meet 100% of the U.S. energy demands, what are the odds, that would meet the demands, knowing that it's not always sunny, the wind's not always blowing. The other scenario they set up was, what if you installed enough wind and solar infrastructure to meet 150% of the U.S. demands, knowing that it was variable. And so let's say up to 50% could be offline at any time. And what they found was with the 100% capacity and no mechanism to store energy, it would be best at 75% wind, 25% solar, and you could meet 75 to 80% of U.S. electrical needs. But if you design the system with excess capacity, it's the 150% case, it could meet 90% of its needs with only wind and solar. And in that case, it actually went more towards solar than wind. But the key here is with no battery storage.
Right.
Of course, once you add the battery storage, it just becomes a slam dunk no-brainer. because there are times where the wind is blowing and the sun is shining and you're generating more than 100%. So let's put it somewhere that we can put it back into the system when needed. So the point, and it says right here, it's the very last paragraph. The point is the use of clean energy to power an entire country, in parentheses, or a group of countries is achievable. It's no longer viable to say we can't.
Yep.
It's there. The numbers back it up. We can do this.
Yep. And that doesn't mean that there still won't be people that deny it.
Oh, of
We've
course.
seen that way too much.
Not. Yeah, I mean,
yeah.
Right.
We still have flat earthers, please.
Yeah.
You know, that isn't like crazy.
But, you know, getting back, I mean, you know, we were talking about greening the grid. We know that we can green the grid. We just have to keep going. And we know that green tech jobs hire more people than traditional, you know, the coal and the oil. And it's green energy is one of the largest, fastest growing sectors in the United States right now. It's not going to be very long before we achieve this. And I really do believe that we're at the point now that it's a runaway, it's a self-feeding loop.
So you feel this cannot be stopped at this point?
Yes, I truly believe it cannot be stopped. And I realize that my reading is slightly biased toward, you know, this type of thing, but I'm seeing more and more articles of petroleum-based utility companies. Even they are investing in renewable energy and getting out of the petroleum industry.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you look at the price of solar over time, it has dropped dramatically. And there's a crossover point that we've just hit where it is now cheaper to generate energy with solar. It doesn't have this ongoing fueling cost. You install it and you harvest from the sun. It's incredible. It's awesome.
Yeah, you don't have to hire somebody to go out and blow up the side of a mountain and then truck it and do all of that stuff. And you know, as David said in the chat room, solar panels don't give people black lungs.
Yeah, a solar energy spill is called a nice sunny day.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. So I found this article from The Guardian, and I just thought that's great. You know, like I said, there's numbers to back it up, and you can no longer say that it can't be done because it's been proven you can do it.
Yep. But let me offer a slight refutation to that, Tony, because although I personally agree with you, and I think you're right, and I hope you're right, and I know that that article is right, that we're headed towards a better energy distribution scheme in this company. There's an article in Clean Technica last week, and the headline kind of tells the whole story. And it is, and I quote, BMW pushes back EV mass production again, says not profitable enough until 2020. This is a James Ayer article, like I said, in Clean Technica. And basically BMW's hedging its bet. BMW's pushed back some of the promises they'd made about deploying electric vehicles. And make no mistake, BMW has been aggressive, and they've been a very good company in general about this. This isn't, dare I say, Ford, to call somebody out, who's, you know, played the game of like, we're going to make a few cars and we're not really, you know what I mean? Like they played the Halo car, they played the compliance vehicle. BMW's put i3s out there.
But Ford is excellent at news releases.
They have a wonderful PR division. Absolutely wonderful. I hear everyone there is very nice too. So, and I mean that, but what they've done, I think, is just reprehensible. So sadly here, BMW is looking at, and they cite just the usual kind of thing you would expect, which is we can't make enough money on battery technology right now, so we're not going to deploy it.
Is it that, Russell? Or is it we don't make as much profit on something else?
Right. Yeah, they have a vested interest in sticking with the status quo.
I understand what the PR, is, but I gotta believe it's we make more profit on regular gas cars. And where do we spend our energy and time? Where we make the most profit.
Sure. Yes, I'm not defending BMW in any way, other than to say that credit where it's due. I think they've done good work and they've done some serious work. This makes me really sad. They wanted to be fully electric, I think, by 2025. They have plans to add like 25 new models by then. But now, all of that's sort of up in the air because they have to make money.
Yeah, so this is another perfect one to add to my list of Tesla moats. So the people that are investing in Tesla today are mostly looking at top line growth, not bottom line growth. They haven't been a profitable company, so there's no expectations of a profitable company. What their expectation is that they expand into new markets, like they are now with the Model 3, like they will with the Model Y, like they are with the Semi, like they will with the what am I forgetting? Oh, the pickup truck. Yes. So, I mean, there's lots of new markets for them to grow into. And that's what the majority of investors want to see from Tesla, is them going after new markets and expanding. If they can have capture 20% of those markets like they have in the luxury car market, that's going to be great. So to do that, you have to invest in it. And BMW has investors that have invested into a stodgy, old, profitable, making 15% margin but getting by kind of business, and for them to make a huge leap like this and miss some quarterly numbers would be a huge change. And so they're
and
tied.
all the people in the C-suite would have to be removed because they didn't make the numbers they were supposed to make. So these guys are covering their jobs as well.
Exactly. They can't look past this quarter. They're not allowed to. They're in a box that confines them to looking at this quarter.
Absolutely.
Which means they'll lose their leadership position and be content to chase other companies, which is sad. Which is really, really sad.
And once batteries they can buy from LG Chem or somebody else are commoditized to the point where they can just buy them off the shelf and make cars that are at least as profitable as today, that will happen in 2025 or later. Then they'll be in the game. But will they have a leadership position? No. And then they're just going to be a Me Too company, or they'll have to find some other avenue to compete on. So it's not a long-term smart strategy, but it's what they're forced to do today, I think.
Yeah, I would agree. Well, I want to show something else. A couple of weeks ago, we did a live simulcast with the Jaguar I-Pace debut, which we had a lot of fun with. It's a fun car. This is sort of Jaguar's competitor to the Tesla Model X. Waymo this week debuted something that this is the fully autonomous Waymo-powered Jaguar I-Pace electric crossover SUV.
Dun, dun, dun.
Not bad looking, even with its funny LiDAR bumps and humps and whatnot.
That actually makes it look better to me. Isn't that weird?
I have to admit, like, it looks kind of Torchwoody, like I'm like,
right.
That is the same unit that's on the Chrysler minivans too, right? That kind of same kind of roof rack looking thing.
That may be.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know. Here's another shot. Again, the big LiDAR dome on top and the pods and stuff. It's cool that Jaguar's teaming up with Waymo. Waymo has been working very hard on AV development. Interestingly enough, kind of the quiet one. This is a Google company, so they're certainly well funded and they're certainly serious. But deploying this Jaguar I-Pace, it's interesting. They say that they're going to add as many as 20,000 I-Paces to the fleet in the next few years.
Wow.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of cars.
All going to Waymo. That's a lot of cars.
Yeah. And obviously that makes a company like Jaguar very happy because, Google will buy up 20,000 I-Paces, that's a nice steady market. It puts their product out on the road where people can see it and go, oh, maybe I want one of those.
Yeah. Do you get a discount when you buy 20,000?
Right?
No.
So, like you're haggling at a car dealership. What if I buy 5,000? How much? Come on, how about 10,000?
Yeah, every car comes with a free car wash.
Yes.
Oil changes for life in this electric car.
Exactly. Engine shampoo every time you need one.
Yeah.
Waymo's looking at deploying these things later this year. So there are, and obviously the iPace is already out. I mean, this isn't something anybody has to wait for. This is here now. You can go to a Jaguar dealership and order one and buy one. So I can't wait to see one of these bad boys on the road.
Yeah.
I'm not a super fan of AV, but I think this is really cool.
I think a partnership like this makes sense. Go ahead, Tony.
Yeah, as I say, I think that LiDAR bump on the top thing, they should put a light in it so it looks like an old-timey police car.
I just got a flash of one of the minions with his wee woo, wee woo.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
There it is, painted like a minion. That would be hilarious.
There you go.
Or
I like that.
If you put some silver and blue stripes on it, it could be an R2 unit sitting in your car.
Oh, yeah.
Who did the Star Wars crossover at one of the auto shows?
Nissan.
Yeah, the Nissan Rogue. Yeah.
Nissan might have a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm sure they do. Deploying it on a gas car too. Hey, that's technologically advanced. Thank you.
Didn't you guys know R2 was gas powered?
Yeah. Oh, no. I think
far
actually,
away. Yeah.
R2's propane. It's propane. That's
I saw the jets when he flew. Yes.
Right. I don't want to correct you, Patrick. I'm sorry.
You're right.
I think it's
propane is a gas.
Propane is a mostly American product. Yes, made from fossil fuels. Yes, it is.
Propane and propane accessories.
Yeah.
Wow, nice reference. Holy
there
crap.
We go. Again, another show title that just
There's too many tonight.
It's too many. Well, interestingly enough, here's another opinion, and I'm going to start out with a quote from the article that this person is about. And the quote is, quote, "Electric cars are disasters. They are evil." Now you're thinking, who said that? I mean, wow, that's kind of getting out there.
Rob Lutz will say anything to get in the news.
The head of Exxon? Who was
exactly? Yeah, no, I'm sticking with Bob Lutz, actually.
Okay.
These are the words, and I'm going to screw the name up. My mistake, but Ha Bu-young, who is the head of the Hyundai Motor Union. This is the largest and most powerful union in South Korea. This comes from a John Volker article on the 26th in Green Car Reports. And we talked about this briefly on the Tesla Life. I don't blame this guy's very narrow and blinkered opinion, because he has one job, and that's to keep union employees making cars. And making electric cars takes less people. And I get that,
but making no cars takes even less people.
Yes,
and if you don't move to the latest technology, eventually you could argue for buggy whip manufacturing all you want, and when that's not the technology anymore, you're out of a job. So no one is saying that Hyundai should switch to 100% electric cars tomorrow and lay off half their workforce. In no way. They have to do this to stay relevant, and for him to speak out like this is just ridiculous and stupid.
See, I made that buggy whip reference yesterday.
Oh. Was that yesterday Greenwich Mean Time or yesterday West Coast time?
Matter of fact, it was.
Yes, the Luddites. Buggy whips is a great reference, Tony. Well done. Well done.
Yeah, I'm not saying I agree with him. I just I kind of get it. At least this guy's trying to protect jobs. And again, the idea, though, that it takes less people to assemble electric cars may be true, but
less people or fewer people?
Oh, God. I so fucking hate you.
I think it's lesser people.
Oh,
God. Fewer people, excuse me, fewer people and less people. But that's another thing. But there are, of course, the associated industries building those parts, and there are other ways that these jobs can be saved. There's other ways, and that's what we have to work on. We can't be so narrow that we're going to do whatever we can to save a job in one company when it doesn't make any sense. That's ridiculous.
It's short-sighted, and you're right. He might have the best of intentions, but he's not looking past his nose. It's really stupid.
Yeah. My last story for the night is this, and I'm going to put this bad boy on the screen. Just so you know, Danny Cooper and I have already applied to take this over sometime. Toyota recently did the Paris to Dakar rally in a Prius Prime. Now,
all electric the entire way.
The entire time.
You'll note the picture here. It's right next to what appears to be a gas-powered Land Cruiser. And that's probably because they need something to pull it out of the sand. I have a little bit of experience with Priuses in the desert, and I'm here to tell you, they are the worst possible car you could have in the sand. I buried my Prius in, it's not good. That said, I've always wanted to see Toyota do things like this, racing Priuses and doing other things that it wasn't just like, hey, we're hypermiling, hey, look, we're hypermiling. Like, fine, look, and there it is, stuck in the dirt, baby. Because those little tires, they suck in the sand, man. They go right to bedrock, and
just hook it up to a Model X and
away you go.
Pull it out backwards.
Right.
I mean, cheers to Toyota for doing this. It's cool. It's fun. I think it's fun. You know what? Again, electric cars, hybrid cars, plug-in electric cars. We can do cool stuff with them. We don't have to just drive slowly and save fuel. We can do fun stuff with them.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
I totally agree. But do you think that this is why anybody buys a Prius?
So I'm not sure what your point is.
Well, like you just said, they're not designed for this, and they in some cases, like you showed a picture of them stuck in the sand.
Yeah.
So how does that make them look good? I don't get it.
Know. I mean, I think from my point of view, the only thing that I like about this is, again, I'm tired of Prius. The only thing the Prius does is a nerd car. It saves fuel. Like, come on, it's a car. It can do a lot of things that other cars do. It doesn't have to be a gas car to have fun.
Okay. All right. That's all. Yeah. I'm all for having fun.
I would go back to 2006 when I went to Tour del Sol in New York, and they had an all-car slalom, SCCA slalom race. And a lot of these cars are hideous for that kind of thing. I mean, horrifying, but whatever, it was fun. It was get out there and run the little cones and do the track and who has the fastest time, and I ran away when there was this converted Ford Ranger that looked like it was going to just roll right over the fence, over me, everything. Because I mean, it was leaning in the turns bad. I think it just needed suspension. I want us to get out of the box where alt cars aren't fun, and forgive me, because I'm not saying anything bad about them, or Tesla's the only car company that makes a fun car.
Yep. Yeah, I agree. A lot of car companies need to think bigger and try new cool stuff. And so, the
Leaf is a blast to drive. The Volt is a fun car to drive. There's no reason you can't have fun in that car and do cool things. Maybe not drive in the sand. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Oh, which car company was it where they had a commercial about when the light turns green, you can get in front of the other car next to you? They weren't talking about top speed. They were just talking about the peppiness off the line. And it was like a electric Mini Cooper or something. And
really?
And
Fit EV or something?
I don't remember which one it was. Somebody in the chat room can look it up. But I thought that was a smart little commercial that showed a cool way that your car was neat and fun and practical. And that's a valuable thing to have. If you're like, oh, I realize I need to get in the left lane and I'm in the right lane, but we're stopped at the light and I'm in the front. When the light turns green, I can definitely get over there.
Yep. Yeah. You have no problem doing that in an EV.
Yeah, unless the car next to you is an EV.
Well, right.
Which is, as a good thing, becoming more common.
Yeah.
As you're seeing today, Mark.
That's right. If you're in Fremont, you're probably beside an EV right now, and there's probably one behind you too.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe 3 behind you.
Have you been keeping a tally of have you seen a Model 3? Have you seen an i3?
Well, that kind of touches on what I wanted to say at the end, was that I was able to get to a location that was shown on the Tesla Life, which was Tesla storage area. And no word of a lie, there was 700 Teslas in this storage facility's parking lot.
Wow.
and there were at least half of them were Model 3s. Every color, every wheel, like it was. Every time you turned your head, there was another one. Like it was unbelievable the amount. They were jammed into this parking spot, obviously for temporary storage. But man, I have never seen that many cars in one spot, and it was really great to see all those Teslas.
That is awesome.
Do we have any? I'm sorry, Patrick.
I was just gonna say one of them might be yours eventually, Mark.
Eventually. Yeah. So a shout out to my Canadian countrymen who received by reports, thousands of confirmations went out yesterday to Canadians for non-owners. So
wow.
We're happy to start buying them up. And,
you weren't first on that list? I'm gonna have to tweet Elon.
Do they not know who you are?
Yeah, exactly. Don't they know who you are?
Watching the show, damn it. But it was great to see and hear from many people that have been waiting forever. It seems 2 years at this point almost, and it was great to see that a whole flood of them were released. And mine was April the 4th, so I'm like 4 days later. So I'm just hanging on that maybe it'll get pushed out in the next couple weeks.
Would you buy a first production?
Yep.
All right.
Hands down.
Then you didn't hesitate at all. You were like, yeah.
I had this decision about 6 months ago.
All right. You don't want to wait for white interior or all-wheel drive or the performance model. Or awesome.
Nope.
Yeah.
And the reason is because I was lucky enough, and with the guest that we had a number of weeks ago, Yo-Yo was on our show. He actually took me in a drive in his 3 with just regular rear-wheel drive on icy conditions with snow tires, and it was just fine. It handled like it was on rails. I don't need all-wheel drive. I'd rather spend the money on the larger battery.
Yep, I've seen that on other podcasts too, that they've tested it on the ice and snow, and with that electric motor instant response to slippage, it's millisecond level. It's way faster than other traction control systems. So rear wheel Teslas perform better than front wheel gas cars in many cases.
But don't tell anybody, because that could stop my order.
Cat's out of the bag.
Wait, don't put cats in bags. That's bad.
Yeah, let them out.
Right.
Let's not do that. That's all I got tonight. Does anybody have one more thing?
I'll do one more.
I got one more thing.
All right, go for it.
Go for it. You want?
It was cool to see the new number for Model 3s has now gone over 11,000. So it was we got some photographic proof of it just last week and posted it on the Twitter feed, and just fantastic to see it's over 11,000 now in real life.
Wouldn't it be cool to have VIN number 10,000? I mean, just that nice round number.
Someone does. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Some lucky person.
Absolutely. Patrick, what do you have, sir?
Oh yeah. So on the Tesla Life, Tony, you mentioned about hitting the 200,000 car, and I think that's the reason that cars are going to Canada.
Yep.
So that otherwise Tesla would have hit it in June. Hitting it at the end of a quarter is stupid. Tesla is not stupid. Therefore, some cars went to Canada so that they can hit it in July.
I didn't even take that factor into consideration. Nice. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
That gives 3 more months of the incentive. That means the full incentive, if they hit it in July, then they get all the rest of that quarter and the quarter after, which means all of 2018 will have the full tax credit in the US. And then after that, it drops to half for 6 months and then to a quarter for 6 months. So you'll get some incentive in all of 2019, not the full incentive.
Right.
But I think that's the way they're doing it. And like you said, Mark.
So Elon, if you're listening, get me a car. I'll help with your numbers.
You should have been a day one guy. You would have been there.
I should have been a day one guy. Yeah, hindsight is 20/20, Patrick.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's okay. You'll be day one on the Model Y.
No doubt.
Or something. I don't know.
He's getting a Tesla semi. He's gonna be.
Yeah, I want to see it in a Tesla. I like that in a Tesla Semi. Let's do some shout outs and go home, kids. I think we've done a fine job here tonight. Oh, and by the way, there was something. David. Yeah, I don't know about Herbie the Love Bug. Not my thing, man. Just saying. Message to the chat room. Patrick, any shout outs this week?
No, I'm not. Herbie the Love Bug is VW, and they get no shout outs from me.
Exactly.
So, however, I have to say, I'm taking over now, that Herbie the Love Bug was VW's first fully autonomous car.
Yes, just a little bit of magic. I'm gonna give a shout out to Everybody's Brewing. This was some good stuff. Well done, guys.
Oh.
And to Oregon Electric Vehicle Association. You can find them at oeva.org, and on Facebook, on Twitter, and now on Instagram.
Ooh.
Oh,
Yeah.
You're copying. Well, I'm not even going there.
I haven't canceled our Facebook page though, but I thought about it.
Interesting. Yeah, that might be something to talk about next week. Anyway, Mark.
No, I already gave my shout outs, so I'm good.
Thanks, man. Tony.
I am giving some very personal shout outs. One to Rob Neff, who is a personal friend, and to I say I got a whole list here now. M. Haddadi, Inspector 2112, Peter Stencils, Adnan Adwar, Mike Frost, who turns out knows Mr. Russell Frost, and John Franklin. So
might even be my big brother.
Might even be your uncle's stepbrother. These are people who recently liked the the YouTube page. You like the channel, and just want to recognize you and say thanks for joining us. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and looking forward to seeing you in the chat room. So welcome aboard.
There you go.
Speaking of the chat room, David G said that Popular Mechanics just announced their car of the year, and it's the Tesla Model 3.
It is indeed.
Thank you, David. Yeah,
yes,
and it won Clean Technica's car of the year as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it's definitely garnering some early 2018 praise, which is good.
Also, shout out to everybody in the chat room, of course, as usual.
Absolutely. Yeah, everybody there. As always, I want to thank Michael Mannering for our amazing theme music. Visit him at manthing.com. I want to thank everybody in the chat room too, even David, who's been taunting me throughout the show. Thank you. I appreciate that. I don't even know. I mean, like, how do I say thank you to all of you guys for being here tonight? Mark did it from a phone.
A phone.
In the Bay Area. Of course, follow us at facebook.com/whatdrivesus, at Twitter, strangely enough, at What Drives Us, youtube.com/whatdrivesus. Super important. Go there and subscribe, please. Super important for us. We need those subscriber numbers. We are getting closer to 500, and we would love to be at 500 sometime soon. Your support is so important, and all that means is you're going to get an email when we broadcast. That's it. That's all we ask.
If you know anybody's login and password, just log in as them, subscribe for us.
Right.
We didn't suggest
so close.
That. Yeah.
Oh, no, never, ever.
And on Instagram at What Drives Us Show.
Oh, wait, somebody had already taken What Drives
Somebody already asked What Drives Us.
Oh, my God.
I should have done that years ago. But yes.
That's like when somebody took my carswithcords.com. Yeah. Jeez. Come on, people.
And what are they doing with it? That's the problem. It's like a link bait site or something, right?
They went out of business. Yeah, they were a legit site for about a year, and then they went under.
Yeah, and then the domain never comes back. That's the problem. It just it disappears. So if you're on Instagram, you can see what's going on with What Drives Us. This week it would have been pictures of the Lexus RCF Sport, which, while not fuel efficient, in fact, while a gross fuel waster, was immensely fun. It is the most fun I've ever had getting 9.5 mpg.
Yikes.
Literally. Patrick has muted his microphone because he's swearing right now. Exactly. Gorgeous car. I mean, amazing vehicle. So thanks to Lexus for that. That review will be coming out soon. Of course, all of our car reviews are at the YouTube page. Big shout out to my friend Shauna for bringing me cars. Thank you so much. And that's it, guys. Thanks again to the panel. Patrick, it's okay. Are you still swearing?
Was that a station wagon?
Dude.
Thank you, Shauna.
Come on. What? That is the most
gremlin?
legendary car ever made. The American Motors Gremlin.
Hey, lady, where's the
Ting
other half of
boom.
your car?
Exactly. That's the commercial. And this thing opens. There's like steering. There's like stuff. I mean, this is amazing.
That is cool.
Yeah, very cool. Thanks again to everybody in the chat room. Thank you, you guys. We will be back next week with another amazing show. I promise this time. Until then, tune in next week and find out what drives us.
Tesla Mote's coming next week.
Tesla, go on the upturn. Right?
Yeah, come on, stock.
There we go. I'll take that. See you guys. Have fun.